Carter's most significant role was that of presidential advisor. An almost equal extension of myself is how the former president once described his wife.
I think it's because Jimmy and I have a mutual respect for each other. And if I go out in the countryside and see things that are problems and come home and tell him that I think we need to do something about it, he listens to me and he looks into the situation.
Rosalind grew up in Plains, Georgia. Her best friend and classmate happened to be Jimmy Carter's sister. So when Jimmy was home from the Naval Academy in the summer of 1945, they went out. And the story goes, he announced to his mother that Rosalind was the girl he intended to marry. A year later, they tied the knot. At first, she was a traveling Navy wife, and when Jimmy's father died in 1953, they moved back to Plains to run the family peanut business. He ran the warehouse, she kept the books. The couple had 3 boys by the time daughter Amy was born, when Rosalind was 40. ABC's Barbara Walters spoke to the Carters in 1976.
I felt that it was my greatest accomplishment.
In 1962, Jimmy Carter was first elected to the state senate, later to the governor's office. When her husband decided to run for the presidency...
My name is Jimmy Carter, and I'm running for president.
Rosalind campaigned non-stop, visiting 41 states.
We don't do well with political issues, but we do well with the people. That's why you're so important to us.
Impressed with her combination of self-discipline and Southern charm, reporters nicknamed her the Steel Magnolia.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear that I...
During her 4 years as First Lady, Rosalind Carter continued to work for reforms in mental health programs.
I think just by focusing attention on the problem, you can be effective. I can certainly let Jimmy know what the recommendations of the commission are.
She worked on behalf of increased aid for the elderly and remained committed to women's issues, including pushing for the ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment. The First Lady from Plains will be remembered for her commitment to building what she called a more caring society.
Because there is no way that we can be at peace if our children are suffering unnecessarily. And so peace means more than just the absence of war.
And our thanks to Martha Raddatz for that report, and President Biden reacting moments ago to the news of Rosalind Carter's passing. Are also known for their inspiring love story. ABC's senior national correspondent Steve Osunsami interviewed both of them together a few years ago in what would be their last television interview together. Steve joins us now from Atlanta. And Steve, in your special conversation, the Carters had some advice for all of us.
They did. Good evening to you, Ed. I sat down with them for their 75th anniversary a few years ago, and we decidedly did not talk about the news events of the day. Instead, I got a master class on love and how to make a relationship last.
What advice do you have for people who want to make it last?
First of all, choose the right person to marry. And then give each other plenty of space. Let the other person, have a full life in the way they choose. And help when you can, share things a lot.
And do things together. We always looking to do things, for fun things we can do together. Like fly fishing and bird watching and just going out to the pond.
And every night we try to make sure we are completely reconciled from all the arguments during the day when we go to bed. So we also read the Bible every night, and we've done that for 60 years prior.
It's hard to go to sleep
if you've read angry if you've read the Bible.
So never go to bed angry.
Try not to.
It was clear even then that they had planned to walk into the sunset of their lives together. They were finishing each other's sentences and thoughts. They just loved that we were talking about their relationship. And a few weeks later, a letter came in the mail, and it was a small bit of graciousness. A week or so after that interview, it shouldn't have shocked me that Mrs. Carter was able to find me so easily. She, of course, had the U.S. Secret Service at her disposal, but it still did. It was a handwritten letter of thanks. A bit of old school charm and blue ink, a bit of class, a legacy from the desk of Rosalind Carter. Whit.
Wow, a small treasure and a piece of history in your hand there, Steve. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. And later on in this broadcast, more from Rosalind Carter in her own words. We do